hello, YouTube. There's an app, the Ron Adams, or the only Ron Adams, Ron Adams on YouTube, who's one of the commenters, who was telling people I was a lawyer. And I told him a number of times I'm not a lawyer. He has rules with New Britain Superior Court and Wethersfield Police, also with other police departments and with state police and with the Whiting Forensics, increasingly with Joshua Julian and people tied to him and his neighbors, people with the name Violet, involved with foreign and domestic intercampuses, identity theft, fraud, slander. WFSB attached me to fake conversations with them with that. There's a Paul Kelly, and neighbors of a Paul Kelly also have roles with WTNH with the F.B.I. also, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions, raw roles with all along Elm Streets and Wethersfield and Rocky Hill, as their role as names involved with the state judicial branch offices and people at Trinity College, also with these names involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders. People with the name Eric, Matt Olson and Eric Olson. I never had a class with them in my life. There was one time they were in my presence, real quick second, involved with a Mr. Neville. They tried to make a fake exception. I don't pretend I don't know. And pretend, in other words, I don't even know who they were. Learned after from Eric Jensen. I didn't know who he was. A whole bunch of people associated with Ray Cololo and his extended family members, and Tim O'Brien and Andrew O'Brien and their extended family members, and ones with the name D. Simone, involved with various police departments with identity theft, frauds, wire crime acts, and methods, including a wire crime game that's not even with real phones, with the people involved now, increasingly with wire crimes and Wethersfield Police, and the courts refusing to identify themselves. They're forging and switching names. Joshua Julian and Anthony Yagman are one of the ones that recorded involved with child sex offenders, leaders of the Kids First Force. More police chiefs retired, and Mendez, ones with the name Mendez, are involved with falsified police with them with that, and with a Phil Cololo involved with the Bob Chase's confessions regarding his rules, also with federal evidences, crimes, digital crimes. These are forensics names too through time involved with this. So in other words, then the AI, it said boxing, and it used it not as like, in other words, the way I use it, even though I didn't sign up for the AI YouTube. But then, and I noticed in the post after that, I almost pressed it by, like, say I pressed it by accident. I wasn't almost pressed it, but in other words, if I would almost pressed it by accident, it would have said I was a lawyer because that's what they suggested in the thing. And I didn't even sign up for the AI. See, the intelligence community also has roles with Facebook, and the difference between Facebook as the ones changed my stuff or themselves. The FBI has roles with a whole bunch of people tied to it looks just like a Celeste Wells. I never had a class with her. She was planting evidences with people with the state judicial branch offices and corrections offices and a whole bunch of different countries involved with her. And now, in other words, it's not personal. These are the courts and police switching and forging names tied to it. And the roles, there was a Facebook ad that looked just like her with it. And there's a Leahy family that pretended they had conversations with me. In those conversations, they pretended I said that they were using the TV to look through, which there are proofs that they've been doing that. There were proofs that all kinds of natures of investigators are being and haven't been used criminally, foreign influence, tactically, delusions, raw, and they are kept with their worst patients and criminals, collusions with the people holding them too, using them to hide that things that are collusions at crime scenes and online, and with the news predicate acts. WFSB stole my identity. The Fox Connecticut News, WFSB, and WTNH. They have roles with the police forms, put me in fake and changed communications with themselves, and they won't respond. In other words, I put a letter. Where's my response to the letter to the Wethersfield police? I want them switching and forging names. You're gonna watch. In other words, too, they're bringing in their family members too. There's a police chief, Centron, who has increasingly roles with people on Elm Street and Rocky Hill and Wethersfield, and with that Mazzucato Bakery, with that spot, with that Cornices before they were there. And they're also involved with identity theft, fraud, things trying to make it look like they know with me and nature of relationship to me that they know is not real. Has something to do with their roles with scams, identity theft, fraud, slingers on a mass scale with evidences through time with foreign and domestic intelligence. Please get another. It's enough personal too. It's just John Mayano too, with them and with a modern pastry, against modern pastry too. In other words, has something to do with their roles with his educators too. Jonathan Mayano has educators involved and his neighbors involved with them with sequence shifts. There are proofs also that he has roles with the former Mayor Gold's family member, increasingly involved with people with whiting forensics, with federal crimes and overt criminal enterprises and confessions tied to them. And they put fake things in databases behind my back since I was a kid. Please get them on paper. The Connecticut Interbranch and the Wethersfield Police switching and forging names, and the whiting forensics names further involved with the confessions, and more with the principal child abuser. And they use crimes like they charge people for crimes where they know they didn't commit the crime, and they put no writing, and they're lying about their motivations from it. Also, per uses of their kids for them to get away with it as apparent motivations, but it's not really their kids. Because if you pay attention, they're using their kids to hide what really motivated them. Because they've been used remotely since they were kids. In other words, Jonathan Mayano, the first year I knew him, his name had been repeated to me by people communicated that when they repeated names. No, like with Joshua Julian still. Joshua Julian is increasingly involved with people with multiple police departments that have roles with planting evidence of fake ties, fake natures of ties to me online and on my street. Per him, I never saw him on my street in my life. He was, he was on Facebook describing my garage. In other words, with them, and there's an officer Jerry Miller, who was pretending that he recorded me growing marijuana, and that's also with the people involved with the the only Ron Adams, who is involved with the intelligence, the artificial intelligence with YouTube being influenced by influences from off it, because the FBI is used remotely criminally foreign influence and worse since founding. And the differences of them or the other police forms is also used remotely, criminally foreign influence, tactically, delusions, raw. You guys have other communicated. You guys had other communicated for James Madison than he actually communicated. You guys had the breaching methods use, then /s of roles with that self-value, using the words they said, our founders, leaving out what they declassified about that. It's a method by that. Per uses of good nature demonstrates that too. Ugh.